Hello and welcome to Something for the Weekend. In this podcast, Kathie is away to Yorkshire for a few days but wanted to share a couple of conversations she's been having with David Glennie from the Scottish Slate Islands Heritage Trust about reopening after COVID. She does like her commas, doesn't she? The Tardis-like Museum at Ellenabeich is now in its 21st year, and she also caught up with Stephen Burt, now safe at home after getting totally lost with his brother Ronnie on the wrong side of Jura. There's also music from local pianist Marek. I'm not even going to pronounce this second name. Welcome, I'm Stephen Day, along with
Fiona Scott
and Ellis Butcher.
Well, what an intro. What a load of commas. What a load of spaces that I couldn't breathe. And Fiona, how do I say Marek's second name? I'm going to get it wrong.
We had a discussion about this yesterday and we're going with Kochmanski.
Marek Kochmanski. Marek, if you're listening, I hope you're listening. I'm really sorry. I just didn't want to make a total mess of your name. Hi, everyone. How are you this fine day?
I was fine. I'm worn out now, Steevie. After that, I'm just...
You've got to thank Kathie for it. That is a wonderful writing she does. I just couldn't breathe.
I'm sure she knew what it meant.
It was very well meant. Just couldn't read it. Ellis, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm excellent. Shall we start with one of Kathie's inserts?
Yes,
Sounds
please.
good.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Well, we're off to the Slate Museum. COVID forced the Heritage Centre in Ellenabeich to shut its doors to visitors 15 months ago, but its volunteers and trustees have pulled out all the stops to be awarded their tourism-approved, ready-to-go status and open up again. Here's Kathie chatting to David Glennie from the Scottish Slate Islands Heritage Trust.
So after 15 months of being closed, the museum is opening its doors again.
Indeed, we're looking forward to it.
But it's not been easy. There's been quite a few hoops to jump through before you could open those doors.
We've had to do all the signing and spraying and installing screens, write a protocol to make sure that both the volunteers and the public are protected in these strange times. So it's been interesting.
Because the museum itself, it's in one of the quarry workers' cottages.
Yes.
It looks tiny from outside, but actually it's quite a TARDIS when you come inside.
It goes on and on. We've got lots of interesting information to give.
I've just been looking around now, and there's everything from midwifery tools to local lumps of rock and otters, not live otters. No. They've been gone a while. But it's absolutely fascinating, and not just about our island here on Seal, but about sort of the neighbouring islands as well.
Yes, because it is the Slate Islands Centre, so we are reflecting life on the Slate Islands, Seal, Easdale, Belnahua, and Ling.
And all of these artefacts, how have you obtained them? How have you got your hands on them all?
Largely, it's the local population cleared their attics and brought them along. We're still collecting. Like the uniform here is our latest acquisition.
Let's have a look. Do you want to just describe what we've got?
It's the uniform of the longest serving member of the volunteers of the artillery, who was in service from 1860 until 1902.
Right. So when you say the artillery, was that the artillery?
Yes, there was artillery was based on the island in the 1860s when relations with the French were not very good, and we were there to protect the coastline.
My word.
And we had a battery based here, and this uniform is over 100 years old.
And it still looks in good nick, actually,
doesn't
it?
In very good condition.
And there's a medal there as well, isn't there? What's the medal?
That's his long service medal.
Right, on a green band.
Yes.
So that's the latest acquisition. Is there a particular highlight to what we have? Or what's your favourite piece?
I'm not sure that I have a favourite piece.
I've put you on the spot now. I can tell.
You certainly have.
I can see your eyes above your mask, thinking,
I quite like this little area because you've got the old bay, Hall Bay, before it was enclosed, and you've got the map of the quarry, which is now flooded, and you've got all the tram lines in there still, and then you've got the history of how the islands have changed.
It's fascinating to see how they have changed over the years.
This is one of my favourite talking points. I used to be able to stand here and talk to people about it. Now I can't. I've got these.
You got, got to be behind your little plastic
That's right.
shield as
That's
people
right.
come in. How many visitors would you normally get through a?
We normally have about 10 to 14,000 visitors a year.
That's incredible.
Mainly because of the coaches.
Right.
Because now that's going to be severely impacted because quite a few of the coach companies are now out of business. So I think it's only Locks and Glens and national coaches who are still coming. So we have to wait and see quite what our numbers are going to be.
And it's a charity, isn't it?
It is a
You're
charity.
registered charity.
We don't charge for entry. We exist solely on donations.
And what about the people who run it? It's all down to volunteers.
It's all down to volunteers, and there's a very dedicated band of volunteers who thoroughly enjoy talking to people and welcoming them. But sadly, we need more of them. And one of the objects this year is to try and recruit more volunteers.
Well, good luck with that. You never know. There might be somebody listening. There might be someone listening who'd like to come down.
Indeed, I think there's quite a few number of people who have come to the island in the last sort of 5 years. If we can make contact with them and try and recruit them into our organisation, that would be well worthwhile trying.
I will keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you.
You know, I've been down to Seal so many times and I have never been in there. I'm going to make a point the next time I'm down to get myself in there.
Me too. So
I was going to volunteer Kathie to be a volunteer. Maybe I should send her CV in while she's away in Yorkshire. But I've got to be honest, if you don't charge and it's entirely run by volunteers, I mean, what a great little enterprise that is down there, isn't it? It really does need people's support to go in there and make a special effort to go and have a look round, because I'm sure that they will find something really fascinating in there. But you have got to use it, or as they say, you lose it. And it'd be horrible to lose that history. I think I'm sorry, I'm going to go off on a rant now, but too often I think history is being lost to the internet, isn't it? You know, we stick it all online and we don't actually have a little place to go and have a look around and pick things up and, you know, talk about it. So it would be great if more people could make a special effort to go down to Ellenabeich Heritage Museum.
yeah, there's nothing quite like seeing stuff, is there? I mean, even if I have to say, Ellis, not always can you pick it up, but it is nice to be able to see the size and the scale, which you can't get from the internet. Although midwifery tools, I'm not sure that sounds uncomfortable and painful.
I used to like going into the medical sections of museums. It fascinates me, medical history, especially the dentist stuff. Ooh.
Yeah, I'll put Kathie's CV in for them anyway, and then that'll be a nice little surprise for her when she gets back. She doesn't do much over the weekends, does she? So
Ellis Butcher.
I'm teasing.
He may not appear in next week's podcast. He really is in trouble. Moving on. Fiona, have we got something to maybe lighten the mood and get away from the imminent tragedy of Ellis's next week?
I have. Now, prepare to be lulled into a state of tranquility. Or in Ellis's case, just try not to go to sleep, Ellis, because I listened to this yesterday and it's absolutely beautiful. This is Marek Kochmanski. We've decided that's his second name, and Marek's a local pianist and composer. He also teaches piano and brings his own compositions, classical and jazz music, to communities. He's very well known. It can be heard at the Bridge Cafe in Oban on every last Saturday of the month, so you can go along and listen to him there and enjoy coffee and cake at the same time. This piece of music we're playing today is from his CD and it's called Journey.
That was lovely, wasn't it?
It was. That's the very talented Marek Kochmanski. And if you want to hear more of Marek, either go along to the bridge on the last Saturday of the month, or you can purchase a CD via email at mkmusicevent@gmail.com. That's mkmusicevent@gmail.com.
I think they should have more piano players playing in hotels. I used to like that.
Well, I'll tell you, I got into piano music at a really young age, and purists will hate me for this, but it was Richard Clayderman.
Oh, right.
And you know, he really brought piano music to the masses, and ever since I've loved it. And if you go on the piano ferry from Hull to Zeebrugge, you get a piano recital every night in one of the bars there.
Yeah.
And it's lovely just sitting having a drink and listening to music.
I think it's very underrated. You used to, I mean, I know what you're saying about Richard Clayderman, but he was incredibly successful, wasn't he? And all right.
Yeah.
But you would never hear an instrumental in the charts anymore. Not that I listen to the charts, and I haven't done for about 25 years, but it is an underrated type of music that I think people really appreciate. So if there's anyone out there that owns a hotel, they should get a piano player.
I really like railway station pianos.
Oh, I've never heard that.
You know, they just plonk them down the middle of railway stations and anyone can go up and play them. And it can be amazing because some of the acoustics in these old stations especially are brilliant. Have either of you ever been lost? And I don't mean in a city and not being able to find a hotel with a piano in it, but lost.
Probably Steevie.
Where were you lost?
I got actually lost in Barcelona once. We went a walk and we just walked and then realised we were in this kind of not very pleasant, shall I say, housing estate without knowing how we got there, and then we didn't know how to get back. That was actually a bit scary.
I'm sure at some point I have been lost in lots of different places. The thing is that I would never actually admit at the time to being lost.
That's a bloke thing, Ellis.
I know exactly where we were. Sorry, Steevie.
Well, Kathie caught up with Stephen Burt, who got lost on Jura. And this is just a snippet of the chat Kathie had with him after his ordeal on Jura after a failed camping mission on top of one of the paps went horribly wrong. You may need to sit down to listen to this. Luckily, Stephen and his brother were rescued twice, but only once successfully. In the end, it was the Oban lifeboat fundraisers Phil Hammerton and Alison Rennie, who just happened to be passing on their yacht, who saved the day.
And this was another 2.5 hours walking up to looking for this place, and it wasn't flat. It was just like deeps. There was hills going up, and we were so tired. We were lost again. So this is going to maybe 18, 19 hours walking. So by this time, we were panicking. We were really panicking because there was no way that we could have kept going, because the hills that we had to climb was like another like mountain. I thought we just couldn't keep going. We were exhausted. So by this time, this is when we called for help. We tried to call for help on our phone, but the signal at that side, or Jura, you just can't get a signal. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So we tried walking, trying to get a signal. So eventually we got a signal, and we got through to the police. Obviously, they take the calls before it goes to the Coast Guards.
Yeah.
So we're talking to a lady, maybe a minute or so, and we're trying to give her directions where we were. And halfway through, we're giving her directions, the phone cut off.
No.
And we must have tried another 15 times to try and get through. And every time we got through, it was only lasting a second before the phone cut off. Signal was so bad.
Oh.
So at this point, we didn't know what to do, because we didn't know if they were coming, if they got enough information. I think if they maybe said, stay put, stay where you are, something like that. But we panicked. We're like, what do we do here? We don't know if that call's got through, if they're looking for us. So the only option was to walk another 2 hours back to the beach to see if we could find another boat. So this time we were absolutely soaked. Their trousers were soaked. We were walking through ferns. We were walking through mud. We were running out of water again. So we did the 2 mile walk back to the beach, and this is when we seen Alison, and it was Alison and
Phil.
Phil,
Yeah.
was it? Yeah. So we asked them for help. Then Phil, they were brilliant. They brought us water across, and they said, "We're going to have to get you on the yacht. You're quite bad. It's a situation now. We need to get you. We need to get you sitting down and stuff like that." So we got onto the yacht and we told them straight away we've been trying to contact the lifeguards, the coast guards. We're not sure that we got the call, but is there any possible you can try and contact them and tell them that we're safe, we're on a boat? But at this point, Phil and Alison couldn't get a signal either on their boat. So we had to basically start moving so further along so they could try and get a signal.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually they got a signal to the Coast Guard lifeguard to say that we had them on board, and they would take us to around the coast. And we were gone. There was nothing left of us. So, not known to us, the journey for them to take us back was 5.5 hours on the boat.
Blimey!
So we were safe, we were sitting, but it was a 5-hour journey back to the place where we started, and that was on their yacht. So this was going on, I think they got us at 5 p.m. So we were walking from Thursday morning, Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to Saturday at 5 p.m. we were walking.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a 5-hour journey back to Port Ascay. Was it Port Ascay that took us, or some? No, wasn't it Port?
Oh, was it? It must be. Was it Craig House they took you back to?
Craig House, yeah, that's where they took us.
Yeah.
So we left off about 5 o'clock. Then we arrived at Craig House, and it was about 10:30 at night. And my brother Ronnie, he was sick on the yacht for probably 3 hours on the journey.
Oh.
He was quite bad. I was bad. I never got any sleep, but I was just sitting there exhausted.
Oh dear.
I told you walking was bad for you.
It's quite a tale, isn't it? And that's only a small section of the interview, but they went through the mill.
It's a great tale, and if you want to hear the rest of that, you can have a look at this week's Oban Times and read the full version.
Read the full version. Right, we've got a Scottish word of the week. Now, Ellis, I want you to close Google. I want your hands away from the keyboard. Keep your hands up. Yeah, so we can see you. No, keep your hands up. Right. Here we go.
Today's word of the week is gulshich. That's gulshich, which is spelled Gulshach.
We need context. Give me a sentence, but she can't, can she?
There's no context.
Yeah.
There's no context. And you put your hands down. Get your hands up. What do we think this is, Ellis?
Gulshach. Without context, it's pretty hard, isn't it? Gulshach. I was feeling Gulshach. I'm going to say, I know it's not going to be this, but it reminds me a bit like being seasick. I don't know whether it's listening to the last guy who was sick in the yacht. Maybe that's what it is. Seasick. I'm going to say seasick. It isn't, but I'm going to say it.
Fiona, what are you going to say?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Embarrassed?
Okay, let's let Lesley tell us all.
Gulshach is just a general term used for sweets. So when kids have got a big bag of sweets of all different sorts, you will call it gulshach, or you'll just say that's a whole load of gulshach that children are going to eat or not eat all in one go.
There you go.
Lesley's
sweet.
now stepping into Ellis territory with her words.
I think
Confusing Ellis.
that territory has been firmly occupied and the flag has been planted by Alison. But no, that's a good one. But no sweeties for us because we didn't get the right answer, did we? Yeah.
Don't forget, you can contact us at somethingfortheweekend@obantimes.co.uk or through Facebook or Instagram. And folks, that's all we've got time for today in this incredibly organised show, which I take full responsibility for the smooth running of.
You were great. You're always good.
Speechless.
It always works out well in the edit, doesn't it? So for this week, from me, Stephen Day, it's goodbye.
Me, Fiona Scott, goodbye.
And goodbye from me, Ellis Butcher.
Bye.
Bye.